I'll be very brief. In 1978, I was fairly new in university. I had taught in Modesto before that. Looking at the court system, I thought, well, maybe it was time for some change. So I went around at Christmas time asking attorneys, would you run? They said, no, you're crazy. Nobody challenges a sitting judge. So Tim was the only one who said, I have nothing to lose. I'll get exposure, people get to know me, because he was pretty new here. The way I got to know him briefly was, he was my son's little league coach. So he said, you have to publicly support me. I said, I will. So our procedures every day was, he and I will get together and get in the car and go to my East Indian friends, and I knew who could pay how much as a campaign contribution. So we would go to their homes, and Indian Punjabi custom, and the first thing they would do would be, before giving the money, they would give us the drinks. One time, we got so many drinks. Tim had a sports car, and the car got stuck. He didn't know how to get it out of gear. I didn't know, and Rita came to our rescue and got the car going. So I picked up some of my best students to work as volunteers, and there was one middle-aged fellow who wasn't doing well in the class. He says, well, can I be a volunteer too? I said, yeah, you volunteer, go door to door, and you'll get extra credit. So he got a C minus. He was very happy with that, because he didn't expect to pass. So then, besides that, his next gift that accidentally came was, he said, you know, I was knocking at one door, this one lady invited me in, one thing led to another, and now we are married. So anyway, the Tim's opponent was having a victory party, and my college president asked me, come join the victory party. I had to find some excuse. I said, I'm teaching my night class, I can't come. He said, I'm telling you to dismiss the class, you come to the party. Well, I didn't go because I was with Tim, and as the election results came, I called the county clerk's office, and the county clerk said, if your friend is ahead. So we picked him up, he was wearing a three-piece suit, and dumped him in the swimming pool. A couple of more stories. A few months after he got to be a judge, I had a massive heart attack, so I had to go to Sacramento for open heart surgery. I was 48, and I was the chairman of the fair board, and every member of the fair board had to be a host every evening for during the fair to welcome so-called VIP, who were mostly our friends. So I had to go to the hospital, and Tim and Rita made all night. They made a lot of sandwiches, and they hosted the party for me while I was lying in the hospital. And my reward was, when I came back, they made me the president of the fair board. Another story I remember is, Tim and I used to go for lunch once a week for 28 years until he retired, unless one of us was out of town. So one day I was sitting and waiting for him in a restaurant, and we used to go to Marysville mostly, to the restaurant, because I didn't want a lot of my friends to know he was my friend, because they would come and bug me, ask him to fix this or fix that. I said, I can't do that, but they said, in India, that's what we do. I said, I said, that's why I left India. That's why so the closest I came to helping somebody was, I said, okay, I'm not going to talk to Tim about this case because nobody is supposed to discuss it with the judge. I said, I'll go and sit in the court, and if he will figure out that I'm supporting you, and if he wants to help a little bit, it's okay. Well, he didn't do, and he didn't give any help. He just put the person on, what do you call it, bail and probation, and they were very happy. They were thankful to me. They said, you fixed it. I didn't. Another story, I was waiting for him to come join me for lunch, and he was late, which he never was late. He was very punctual. And so he came, huffing and puffing, and I said, how come you're late? He says, well, one of the prisoners, he escaped from the courthouse, ran on the levee, and I was told Tim took his gown off and he chased him. And he just casually said it. I was doing something important. So Tim never bragged about anything. He was a man of few words, and I loved him, and I will miss him dearly.